Nate here with Murray Farm and Ranch. Welcome back to the channel. It's a kind of a cold, blustery, wintry day in Oklahoma, so we're getting what we can done inside the shop today and out of the weather. And it's we've got a super cool project today. We're gonna do some inoculating of mushroom logs. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about that, kind of what that entails, what you need, and why it's a good idea to grow your own mushrooms. I wanted to talk a minute about why it's a good idea to grow your own mushrooms. The first thing is mushrooms are kind of expensive. They're sold a lot of times by the 12 or 16 ounce package, and they can range from several dollars to, depending on the type of mushroom, to as much as 12 or 15 bucks a pound. And on the homestead, we're trying to grow as much of our own stuff as we possibly can, and another thing that we're doing is we're trying to add perennial crops so that we don't have to, we can just count on them being there each year. And mushrooms are one of those things. When you inoculate a mushroom log, it can grow for 7 to as many as 10 years. And that's very maintenance free. You may have to spray it with a little water here or there, but for the most part, once you get this initial work done, you can sit back and enjoy mushrooms for years to come. So we purchased our mushroom supplies through a company called Field and Forest, and they have just a tremendous amount of supplies available, types of mushroom spawn, and their website is very informational. It has a lot of information on what type of wood to use for your inoculations, when to do it, how to cure it, how to set it up. And so I think that their website can be a wealth of information for you. What we're going to be inoculating today is shiitake mushrooms. We've got 3 different varieties. One is an early season, one is a late season, and then one is kind of a extended range, which can fruit all year. And so theoretically, if this process goes the way that we want it to, we should have mushrooms year round. I wanted to talk to you about the wood that you're going to use to inoculate. So the first thing is you got to use the right species. Different species of mushrooms prefer different types of logs. And so we're inoculating shiitake mushrooms, which do really well in oak. So we're using either red or white oak. We have primarily red oak on our property, and so I've chosen species of mushrooms that prefer red oak species of oak. So hopefully that potentiates the growth. So the size of the log that you're looking for is going to be something in the 4 to 6 inch diameter. So this is a 5-inch diameter log. And then you're looking for something that is between 36 and 48 inches long, and this one is 41 inches long. So this is a perfect kind of example of log that you're looking for your mushroom inoculation. So after you've cut your logs, they need to set for a minimum of 2 weeks. And what that allows is the wood has a natural defense mechanism against bacteria and fungi. And so what you want to do is you want it to set and cure for 2 weeks. And that allows those defense mechanisms to kind of play out. You want to store them in a place that is out of the wind, off the ground, and kind of out of the sun. And let them do that for at least 2 weeks. I've read where you can let them store for up to 6 months, but I would recommend somewhere, 2, 4, 6 weeks, something like that, and then get these things inoculated. Otherwise, an opportunistic fungi will take over. So one of the first steps in the process is going to be drilling your holes, and we purchased a bit. This is a conversion for an angle grinder. This piece goes on to a 5/8 inch angle grinder, and then you have a bit it's a cutting bit that has a stop on it, and this gives you the correct depth for plug spawn. And that's what we're going to be using today. This is much faster than your regular handheld handheld drill. These things, they have an extremely high RPM rate, and so it's just like zzz, 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 you're in the log. So these plugs, they come they've been exposed, I suppose, to a large amount of the shiitake spores. So these are what you plug into your little holes. You'll put them in the holes, and then you just give them a little tap with a rubber mallet, and you want them flush with the surface of the log. Good job, bud. So after you drill your holes and you've plugged your spawn, then you're going to want to cover it with wax. So I've got a little saucepan. This little saucepan is going to be dedicated to making mushrooms. And we've heated it with a little Coleman stove. And then you're going to come through and you're just going to cover each plug with a little bit of wax. And that's going to allow this to seal in and start to colonize the log. Now, you will have to occasionally reheat your wax as it starts to cool down. It's a pretty cool day here in Oklahoma, so we're going to have to do that every few minutes. And then you are also going to cover the ends of the log, and if there's any areas where there was a branch coming off that you cut, you're going to want to cover those as well. And what that's going to do is that's going to seal in moisture. So here we go, guys. The mushroom logs, the first 15 are done. These 15 logs have about 500 plug spawn put into them, and now the hardest part, and that's waiting for them to fruit. So the colonization process takes somewhere between 6 and 9 months, depending on the variety and the temperature conditions and the moisture and so forth. And so you want to select a location to put these that is somewhat shaded. It's best if they're not directly in the wind, and a place where they can get some moisture from rain and so forth. So I'm in a place here that's close to the house, which is also important because you want to be able to check on them relatively easily. So I've got these logs stacked up on a pallet. I put them off the ground so that we don't have to worry about other fungi colonizing our logs. We've got them stacked kind of in a crisscross pattern where they will get some airflow, and I may actually cover them with a black mushroom tarp, which will keep pests out of there and birds from picking at them and so forth. But here we go. We're just going to let them set 6 to 9 months from now. Hopefully we have some beautiful shiitake mushrooms.